light. He lives in us as true light.
Don't let the light that you give in me die, and don't deserve my mind, but let the one who serves you praise you again and again.
He lives in us as true light. In the beginning, out of the darkness, God created true light. He lives in us as true light. Almighty God is light. He lives in us as true light.
You're the one who judges right from wrong. Your glory excites no envy, but let the one who serves you praise you again and again.
He lives in us as true light.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light. Everywhere I go, I want the world to know God gave the world true light.
And now, welcome to our spring commencement. The academic procession was led by the bearer of the faculty mace. The faculty mace leads the academic procession at commencement and on other special ceremonial occasions. The mace is carried by a distinguished senior member of the faculty. With us this morning, I have some special guests whom I wish to recognize at this time. First, I would like to present the First Lady of Francis Marion University, Mrs. Folly Carter. Mrs. Carter, will you please stand? Also seated with Mrs. Carter are the Honorable Kent Williams, Senator of South Carolina Senate District Number 30, members of the Best family, members of the Bruce family, and spouses and guests of the platform party. As most of us are aware, the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University is made up of men and women from throughout the state who give of their time generously and without compensation. It is our pleasure to welcome some of those members to the commencement platform today. I shall ask each to stand when introduced and to remain standing until all have been presented. The Chair of the Board of Trustees, H. Randall Dozier, Class of 77, Murrells Inlet. Trustee Bradley R. Bowles, Class of 80, Piedmont. Trustee James A. Brown, Jr., Class of 77, Florence. Trustee William W. Coleman, Jr., Class of 71, Florence. Trustee R. Tracy Freeman, Class of 92, North Augusta. Trustee William E. Gunn, Columbia. Trustee Patricia C. Hartung, Greenwood. Trustee Kenneth W. Jackson, Class of '84, Florence. Trustee Stephen N. Jones, Class of '88, Hartsville. Trustee Robert E. Lee, Class of '87, Marion. Trustee George C. McIntyre, Class of '78, Bennettsville. Trustee Timothy L. Norwood, Class of '78, Florence. Trustee Gail Ness Richardson, Barnwell. The administrative officers comprised of the vice presidents are also seated on stage, and I shall ask each to stand when introduced. Mr. Darrell L. Bridges, Vice President for Public and Community Affairs. Mr. John P. Dowd III, Vice President for Development and Executive Director of the FMU Foundation. Mr. John J. Kispert, Vice President for Business Affairs. Mrs. Teresa J. Ramey, Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Charlene Wages, Vice President for Administration. Also seated on stage, and I shall ask each to stand when introduced, Dr. Charles G. Carpenter, Assistant to the Dean of School of Business and First Union Professor of Accounting. Mrs. Joyce M. Durant, Dean and Professor of the Rogers Library. Dr. James R. Falkenberry, Dean of the School of Education and Professor of Education. Dr. Rebecca H. Flanagan, Vice Chair of the Faculty and Professor of English. Dr. John R. Hester, Chair of the Department of Psychology and Professor of Psychology. Dr. Jeanette M. Myers, Assistant Provost and Director of Graduate Programs and Associate Professor of Astronomy. And now it is my privilege to present the President of Francis Marion University, Dr. Luther F. Carter. Dr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Provost. Good morning to you all. Let me begin by making one additional introduction, one that always gives me great personal pleasure every time I have occasion to make it. Ladies and gentlemen, the founding president of Francis Marion University, Dr. Doug Smith, is with us this morning. President Smith, would you rise and be recognized, please, sir? Thank you, Mr. President, not only for everything you did to establish this university 42 years ago, but for your willingness to join us at so many university functions. My friend, your presence makes every event here that much more distinctive. Thank you. Now let's look at the profile of this morning's graduating class, the class of 2012. In about 20 to 25 minutes, 322 undergraduates will receive their baccalaureate degrees, and 17 graduate students will receive their advanced degrees. Among the baccalaureate recipients, 54 will receive Latin honors and 7 will receive university honors. The average age of this class is 25 years old. Finally, among the 339 graduates this morning, 318 are South Carolinians, 94% of this year's graduating class. Once again, this means that Francis Marion University leads the state in the percentage of in-state students enrolled and the percentage of in-state students graduating, always a notable achievement. Well, here you are, the class of 2012, all dressed up and prepared to take the next step in your life. Well, one thing's certain, no matter what you do next, you're going to receive an enormous amount of advice from family, friends, and even casual acquaintances. I don't know that anybody in our society receives more advice than new college graduates. You'll be told to get a job immediately. You'll be told not to get a job, but go to graduate school. You'll be told not to do either, but travel extensively. Or here's an all-time favorite. Take a year and do absolutely nothing, but think about what you'll be doing next. By the way, parents really love that one. You know, over the years, I've listened to a great deal of advice given to graduates. But the most unique piece of advice was at a graduation a couple of decades ago. It was provided by a very beloved but somewhat eccentric professor of British literature. His name was Ross Brackney. Dr. Brackney reminded the graduates that while life after graduation was likely to become very complex, it would be survivable if they would adhere to 3 rules. The first, they should never read bad books. Brackney contended there's simply too much good literature in the world to waste time on trash. Second, they should never date boring people, at least more than once. I fear that Dr. Brackney thought that it might become habit-forming and you could end up marrying them. And then where would you be? And finally, and most essentially, he urged them to never, ever drink cheap wine unless, quote, there was absolutely nothing else available, end quote. Please note that I'm not advocating Dr. Brackney's rules to you. Well, maybe 1 or 2, but they do warrant reflection. Of course, in a few minutes, we'll hear Professor Best's advice in charge of your class, and somehow I think it may be as intriguing as Dr. Brackney's. On a serious note, at this time, you should take justifiable pride in your own success, but you should also recognize and thank the many family, friends, and supporters who have sustained you through this educational process. They're all around you this morning, and they're so proud of you, and they're so proud of your accomplishments. Please never forget that. And above all, remember that much of the knowledge you've acquired is due to the wisdom and instruction of another group of people here this morning. They're sitting up front to my right. They're the university faculty. And I would remind everyone here that everything that is pure and vibrant and enduring about a university comes from either the hearts or the souls of its faculty. Now, this morning does mark the retirement of 4 members of this faculty, two of whom are here. I would ask them to stand and remain standing as I read their names. Dr. Kenneth Dye, Assistant Professor of Education, 34 years. Dr. John C. Sutton, Professor of English, 25 years. 2 other colleagues could not join us this morning. They're Professor Jane Gower, Associate Professor of Mathematics with 20 years, and Dr. Jeff Pompey, Professor of Economics with 24 years. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 colleagues have a combined 103 years of service at this university. That's a century of educating our sons and daughters. Would you please join me in thanking them for their service?
And now we have the presentation of an award established by the Francis Marion University Foundation, the William H. Blackwell Award. This award is named for the co-founder and first chairman of the FMU Foundation. The Blackwell Award is made to that member of the graduating class who has achieved the highest academic average among the students in the fall and spring graduating classes. To present the Blackwell Award, it is my pleasure to call upon Mr. Frank J. Buddy Brand II, Chair of the FMU Foundation. Mr. Brand.
Good morning. Tiffany and Harrison, could I ask y'all to come forward? Tiffany, Nicole Phillips, Harrison, Breedlove, Taylor. Y'all join me, please. It's quite a pleasure to be able to do this on behalf of the Francis Marion University Foundation. The William H. Blackwell Award, named in memory of the founding chairman of Francis Marion University Foundation, is given by the foundation to the students who exemplify excellence in scholarship and who have attained in all academic work the highest academic achievement among those receiving the baccalaureate degree. Although the baccalaureate degree recipients during the year are eligible for consideration, this award is presented at the spring commencement ceremony 2011-2012. This award is presented to Tiffany Nicole Phillips and Harrison Breedlove Taylor. First, Tiffany. Tiffany Nicole Phillips. a graduate of the Homeward Education Association. Ms. Phillips entered Francis Marion University in 2008 and is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. Ms. Phillips was named to the President's List every semester and is graduating with a cumulative 4.0 GPA. She was an academic scholar and received the Freshman Chemistry Award, the Scholastic Achievement Award, and the Biology Award. She is a member of the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. Ms. Phillips completed an independent student research project actively participating in Ars Medica, a biology department student organization, and was named a CASAB Fellow of the university's Advancing Rural Community Health Program. In addition, she spent several weeks during the summers teaching AIDS prevention in Uganda and Swaziland schools. Tiffany Nicole Phillips, it is in recognition of your outstanding record and the example which you inspire that Francis Marion University presents you with the William Blackwell Award. Thank you, Tiffany. Harrison Breedlove Taylor, a graduate of West Florence High School. Mr. Taylor entered Francis Marion University in 2008 and graduated December 2011 with a Bachelor of Science in Biology. Mr. Taylor was named to the President's List every semester and graduated with a cumulative 4.0 GPA. He was a Palmetto Fellow Scholar and received Scholastic Achievement Award and a Biology Award. Mr. Taylor is a member of the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. He was a student marshal, a tutor in biology, and worked at the University Writing Center, which he has continued to do after graduation. He completed an independent student research project, volunteered with the Department of Natural Resources, and coaches McLeod Fitness Center's swim team. In the fall, Mr. Taylor will enter the graduate program in microbiology at Clemson University. Harrison Breedlove Taylor, it is in this recognition for your outstanding record and the example which you inspire that Francis Marion University presents to you the William Blackwell Award.
A second award established by the Francis Marion University Foundation is an award that is held in high esteem by the academic community of this university. Soon after the Francis Marion University Foundation was established in 1974, it initiated the Distinguished Professor Award to be presented annually to an outstanding member of the faculty as selected by a representative group of students and faculty. It is again my pleasure to call upon Mr. Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Provost. At this time, Dr. Chris Dyer Johnson, please come forward. Dr. Christopher Dyer Johnson. The Distinguished Professor Award for 2011-2012 is presented to a faculty member in recognition of his or her excellence in teaching, scholarship, and service. Since joining the faculty of Francis Marion University, this year's recipient has demonstrated that he is an inspiring classroom instructor whose classes are challenging and engaging. And in the words of one of his colleagues, he's a selfless teacher selfless teacher. Let me go back to where I was. And he's dedicated to his students. He has earned the respect of the entire Francis Marion community, obviously. Through exceptional teaching, admirable scholarship, and outstanding professional service, he has made notable contribution to the university and its students. He has produced an imposing record of presentations and publications. His scholarly activity includes 2 edited volumes, over 30 conference presentations, and more than 40 published articles and reviews. His work has made him an internationally recognized scholar in his field. Equally impressive is his record of professional service that is extensive and significant. Since joining the FMU faculty in 1996, he has been the leader of a large and diverse department and he has served on a wide variety of university governance committees. In April 2011, he received the Charlene Wages Shared Governance Award, and this year he received the Faculty Research Award. The 2011-2012 Distinguished Professor earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in 1986 from Villanova University, his MA in English in 1988, and his PhD in English in 1991 from the University of Delaware. In recognition of his excellence in teaching, his scholarly and professional achievements, and his dedicated service to Francis Marion University, the Distinguished Professor Award for 2011-12 is presented to the Chair of the English Department, Modern Language and Philosophy, Dr. Christopher Dyer Johnson.
It is the prerogative of the institution to propose to its governing board candidates for honorary degrees. Since the founding of Francis Marion in 1970, the university has been privileged to recognize a number of outstanding leaders through conferral of honorary doctoral degrees. Today we have the pleasure of presenting 3 more such candidates. At this time, I shall ask that Mr. James A. Brown and Mr. Kenneth W. Jackson, members of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, escort Dr. John Larrabee Bruce, Jr. to the front of the platform. And I shall ask that Dr. Karen E. Thompson, Assistant Professor of Nursing for Francis Marion University, come forward to assist in the ceremony. I wish to recognize Dr. Thompson, who will read the citation. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, I present Dr. John Larrabee Bruce, Jr. for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. It is in recognition of his many contributions to improving the fabric of community life that you are asked to award Dr. John Larrabee Bruce, Jr. the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. Dr. John L. Bruce, Jr., through your lifelong dedication to service, you have enriched the lives of thousands of individuals throughout the state of South Carolina, most especially those living in Florence County. As a practicing dentist and member of the Bruce Hospital Board of Trustees and the Carolina Hospital System Advisory Board, you have advanced healthcare in our region and worked to assure that vital services are available to those in need. As Vice Chairman of the Doctors Bruce and Lee Foundation, you have supported many worthy charitable organizations, and you have provided scholarship opportunities to deserving students. You have also enriched the cultural life of our region by helping to build libraries, educational facilities, the Florence Little Theater, and the Francis Marion University Performing Arts Center. John L. Bruce, Jr., your contributions have benefited all those present and will continue to benefit future generations. It is Francis Marion University's honor to recognize your remarkable accomplishments for the community and the region. Mr. President, I present John Larrabee Bruce, Jr. for the degree of Doctor of Humanities.
Dr. Bruce, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humanities. Congratulations.
It is my pleasure to call on Mrs. Patricia C. Hartung and Mr. R. Tracy Freeman, members of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, to escort Ambassador Joseph H. Melrose, Jr. to the front of the platform. And I shall ask that Dr. V. Scott Kaufman, Professor of History for Francis Marion University, come forward to assist in the ceremony. I wish to recognize Dr. Kaufman, who will read the citation. Dr. Kaufman.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, I present Ambassador Joseph H. Melrose, Jr. for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. It is in recognition of his many contributions to improving the fabric of community life that you are asked to award Ambassador Joseph Melrose, Jr. the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. Joseph H. Melrose, Jr., you have committed your life to public service. Your accomplishments have helped bring opportunity, prosperity, and justice to some of our world's most troubled regions. As ambassador to the Republic of Sierra Leone, and later as senior consultant to the Special Court for Sierra Leone, you worked tirelessly to promote human rights and prosecute those responsible for crimes against humanity. You have served as both a senior advisor and acting representative for vital committees within the United Nations. You have long supported education, serving not only as a professor of international relations, but also as a board member for National Model United Nations Conference and Restless Development, formerly called Students Partnership Worldwide. For your many achievements, you have received the Distinguished Honor Award from the Department of State, the Secretary of State's Career Achievement Award, the Presidential Distinguished Service Award, and the Presidential Meritorious Service Award. It is a great privilege for Francis Marion University to have this opportunity to honor your many accomplishments. Mr. President, I present Ambassador Joseph H. Melrose, Jr. for the degree of Doctor of Humanities.
Mr. Ambassador, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humanities. Congratulations.
It is my pleasure to call on Mrs. Gail Ness Richardson and Mr. George C. McIntyre, members of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, to escort Mr. David Keith Best to the front of the platform. And I shall ask that Dr. Pamela A. Rooks, Professor of English and Director of the Honors Program for Francis Marion University, come forward to assist in the ceremony. I wish to recognize Dr. Rooks, who will read the citation. Dr. Rooks.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees for Francis Marion University, I present Mr. David Keith Best for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. It is in recognition of his many contributions to improving the fabric of community life that you are asked to award Mr. David Keith Best the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities. David Keith Best, you have dedicated your professional life to education and the arts. As a professional actor, you have performed with the New Harmony Theater in Indiana, the Music Theater of Louisville, Jekyll Island Musical Theater, Unto These Hills in North Carolina, and many other organizations. After graduating from Valdosta State University and the University of Louisville, you joined the faculty of Francis Marion University in 1993. Since moving to Florence, you have maintained a strong artistic presence within the community, frequently appearing in local productions and serving on the executive board of the Florence Regional Arts Alliance and as treasurer for the South Carolina Theater Association. As president of the local chapter of the American Association of University Professors and as both secretary and vice chair of the Faculty Senate, you have supported faculty governance on our campus. Serving as faculty chair, you have provided leadership during a time of unprecedented growth and development. Working closely with the president and the provost, you have sought to ensure the university's future prosperity and have helped to train a new generation of faculty. David Keith Best, you have had a shaping influence on Francis Marion University, and your good work has benefited all those present. Dr. Best will deliver the commencement address. Mr. President, I present David Keith Best for the degree of Doctor of Humanities.
Mr. Chairman, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humanities. Congratulations, Dave.
It is an honor to be giving this May 2012 commencement address at Francis Marion University. In the words of Charles M. Schulz, try not to have a good time. This is supposed to be educational. Yet, as sung by British boy band and pop phenomenon The Wanted, I'm glad you came. And to our graduates, I'm especially glad you've made it here today, though perhaps not quite as happy as you and your parents. Congratulations on making it through these past 4 years, or 5 years, or 6. When President Carter first announced 9 months ago that I would be commencement speaker, several thoughts immediately went through my mind, most of them 4-letter words. A couple of semesters later, though, I've calmed down, and I truly feel privileged to be standing here. I'm particularly pleased to have members of my family here who have been so supportive through the years. My sisters Joy and Judy and their families, thank you for being here today on what just struck me this morning is my father's, or would have been my father's, 79th birthday. My sister Joy is already crying. Again, welcome to you all. It's been a long time since a faculty member has given the commencement address at Francis Marion. I believe it was about 25 years ago that Professor Emeritus Julia Krebs was one of the last few faculty members to deliver an address. Dr. Krebs, however, was only given 6 days' notice. So I am grateful for having been given 9 months. 9 months, as it were, to gestate and give birth to this address. On the topic of birth, I offer to you graduates a passage from the play Waiting for Godot. Astride of a grave and a difficult birth, down in the hole, lingeringly, the gravedigger puts on the forceps. We have time to grow old. The air is full of our cries, but habit is a great deadener. When I teach Introduction to Theater, at the end of each semester, I usually show this play. I feel it is my duty to prepare my students for the bleak, hopeless existence that awaits them. These words, spoken by Dee in Samuel Beckett's play, accomplish that goal quite well. Astride of a grave and a difficult birth. The image of the gravedigger holding the forceps and delivering a child directly into the grave is a powerful image and reminds us, as another character says, the light gleams but an instant. So graduates, today we cut your educational umbilical cord and drop you into the real world. But don't forget, as Beckett reminds you, that your time on this earth is but an instant, and that ultimately everything you do is merely distracting you from the tragic inevitability that awaits us all. Just as I'm here to distract you for the next 10 minutes, or 15, or 20. Since President Carter surprised me with his announcement, I've been doing a lot of research, watching and reading a variety of graduation speeches. And after a strenuous selection process, I now have a checklist of items that tradition suggests should serve as the best distractions in this ceremony. And here it is. On this list are many rather obvious inclusions. Humor, of course, is important. Inspiration, certainly. A heartfelt moment or two. I can already check off welcome, funny quote, literary reference. Oh look, here's the item that is probably number 1 on most of your lists, brevity. Therefore, in conclusion, I'm kidding. As our graduates know, professors at Francis Marion are used to talking for 50 minutes or 75 minutes. So, on to the list. Let me first mention how lucky you graduates are to have attended Francis Marion University under the leadership of President Carter, Provost Chapman, and our Board of Trustees. In times that have been very challenging for academies of higher learning across the country and in this state, this administration has protected this university from many of the hardships faced by other institutions. As a result, you still have one of the lowest tuitions in this state and great morale among faculty and students. We have the people up here on this stage to thank for that. And it is an honor to receive this degree from Francis Marion, and it has been a privilege to serve as faculty chair. Brown-nosing, check. And now on to the most important piece of advice I have to offer to you graduates. Seriously, it is imperative that you pay close attention to this injunction. Use your turn signal. There's a reason the turn signal is also called an indicator. Your willingness to use this device indicates your desire to move with the flow of the world rather than expecting the world to navigate around you. You do not have the right to get upset about life's impediments if you're unnecessarily impeding others. Driving as life metaphor, check. And while we were on the topic of driving, do not drink and drive. Joking aside, do not do this ever. All life is sacred. Don't endanger yourself or others. This is a time for celebration, however, but as you do, party responsibly. And may the 5th be with you. Pun, check. Also, do not text and drive. It's just as dangerous as drinking and driving. If you do it now, break the habit. And thirdly, do not drink and text. Seriously. All those texts you're sending, they're out there in cyberspace just waiting for you to apply for a job, run for office, or get your own reality show. Alcohol warning, check. Text warning, check. Those are things you should definitely not do. But now that you are a college graduate, there are also things that you'll simply no longer be able to do because you are now too refined and too educated to feel comfortable doing so. For example, you will no longer be able to watch Jersey Shore. Some of you may feel obligated to remove from your pickup that set of stainless steel bull testicles. And you will find it physically painful to put your hands in the air. And perhaps most frightening, you will find your vocal cords simply do not work when you attempt to ask your parents for money. So you'll have to text them, but only when sober. Parents, money, check. On the subject of money, avoid debt, a personal lesson many of us here have learned, at all costs. You may have borrowed to pay for this education. Make repaying that loan a priority. This is a world in which it is entirely too easy to borrow money, and there is no larger distraction from living your life than a large financial burden. So ask yourself, do I really need this? What is your ideal future? Do you want a relationship, a family, a career, cats? Cats, check. Take a few minutes each day and visualize exactly what you want out of life. If you want fame, visualize the kind of fame that would make you happy. If you want wealth, then imagine all the things that you would be able to buy that would make you happy. And then ask yourself, what will be different then? Exactly what is it in that ideal future you have created that will make you happy? There's nothing available in that future that is not available to you now. There's no magic potion for happiness in the future. And creating a future ideal in your mind is just a thought distracting you from this present moment. You do not want to reach the end of your life expressing the same sentiment as Shakespeare's Richard II. I wasted time, and now time doth waste me. Check. Shakespeare. We cannot foretell the future. What is the right path for you? What if you find yourself on the wrong path? How will you know? Well, I can help you out here. There is no wrong path. There is only one path, and it is the one on which you stand and on which you move forward. You create the path as you move forward. So let go of expectation about what the path should be, about what should be around the next turn, about where the path may end. Ultimately, just as Dee Dee in Go-Go in Waiting for Godot, you have two options. You can remain where you are, or you can move. As Beckett said, habit is a great deadener. It is so much easier to stay where we are comfortable, to do what we have always done. If you are happy, there is no shame in maintaining the status quo. If, however, you find yourself unhappy at any point, you always have a choice. At the end of Beckett's tragicomedy, Dee Dee and Go-Go say, "Yes, let's go." And then as the curtain falls, they do not move. A few years after Waiting for Godot, Beckett wrote the play Endgame. In Endgame, Clive and Ham and two other characters are trapped in a small empty room with two small windows that look out on a barren, unfriendly landscape. Ham is blind and cannot walk and is dependent on Clive. Ham abuses Clive because he knows Clive will not leave because of the desolate wasteland that awaits him outside. At the end of the play, though, a curious thing happens. Clive, in his last speech, says of his current predicament, "Good. It'll never end. I'll never go." And then just a few sentences later, he says, "I open the door of the cell and go. It's easy going. And when I fall, I'll weep for happiness." Unlike Dee Dee and Go-Go, Clive chooses to face the unknown, no matter how frightening or bleak it may appear, rather than to continue in his current unhappy situation. Boring section, check. It's not always easy, though. That first step can be difficult, but as the great sage Yoda proffered, do or do not, there is no try. Carrot for the geeks, check. And that's mostly what I have to say to you, graduates. Well, I'm not done with the list, though. So let me finish with this one piece of advice. This is your moment to follow your passion. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. So be true to yourself and make a difference. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks. Cake, cake, cake. Guys, I'm bringing the party to you as you spread your wings and fly over the world that is your oyster. Winter is coming. Now it's your time to be whatever you want to be, living young, wild, and free. But you must walk before you can ride, and you ain't afraid to show it. Starships were meant to fly. Hands up and touch the sky like it's dynamite. Cake, cake, birthday cake. Suke! Life is a roller coaster, and may the odds be ever in your favor. This ain't no drive-by I. This is the first day of the rest of your life. Winter is coming. This is the part of me that you're never ever going to take away from me. Defying gravity, reaching for the stars, which is about the journey, not one door closing while another one opens to a new chapter. Tonight we are young, so let's set the world on fire. Cake, cake, cake. Set fire to the rain. Don't stop believing you're sexy, and you know it. You've got to fight for your right to go forth and carpe diem, whatever makes you feel like a rock star. That's what she said. Cliches, popular song lyrics, obscure literary satire, pop culture, big finish, check. One final quote from Samuel Beckett. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again. Fail again. And fail better. Venture forth, graduates. Unafraid to fail and willing to fail better. Thank you.
Fahamu ni se fahamu rafiki
rafiki, jambo rafiki yangu. Jambo, jambo rafiki, jambo rafiki yangu.
Kawaida umefahamu,
Wewe ni wewe jambo, umefahamu nisefahamu rafiki yangu. Jambo, jambo rafiki, jambo rafiki yangu, rafiki yangu.
umefahamu,
Wewe ni wewe jambo, umefahamu nisefahamu rafiki yangu. Jambo, 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 jambo rafiki yangu.
Umefahamu
jambo, jambo,
nisefahamu rafiki.
jambo, 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 umefahamu,
Wewe ni wewe jambo, umefahamu nisefahamu rafiki yangu. Jambo, 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 jambo rafiki yangu.
Umefahamu
jambo, jambo,
nisefahamu rafiki.
jambo, jambo,
Umefahamu
jambo, jambo,
nisefahamu rafiki.
jambo, 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 umefahamu,
Wewe ni wewe jambo, umefahamu nisefahamu rafiki yangu. Jambo, 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 jambo
rafiki yangu, jambo, rafiki yangu, jambo, rafiki yangu.
And now I call upon the president of the university to come forward. Will the candidates for the specialist in school psychology, Master of Education, Master of Science, Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Business Administration degrees, please rise. Mr. President, I'm pleased to present these candidates for their respective degrees. Each candidate has completed the required course of study, and each has been approved by the faculty.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and the faculty of Francis Marion University, I confer upon you your respective degrees with all rights and privileges pertaining thereunto. Congratulations.
I wish to ask Ms. Dolly Newhouse, Registrar, and Mr. Stephen Jones, member of the Board of Trustees, to come forward to assist in the presentation of diplomas for the graduate degrees. Hooding of graduates will be done by Dr. Ron Falkenberry, Dean of the School of Education, Dr. John Hester, Chair, Department of Psychology, Dr. Charles Carpenter, Assistant to the Dean of the School of Business, and Dr. Jeanette Myers, Assistant Provost and Director of Graduate Programs. Will the graduates come forward to receive their diplomas? Specialist in School Psychology, Meredith Huggins Page. Whitney Ann Reese. Krista Lee Roscoe. Bertie Jasmine Roth. Taylor Ellen Wise. Master of Education, Ryan Harold Bartola. Sharita Y. Bishop. Robin Lee Worsham Brown. Stephanie K. Newton. Nicole Lee Scott. Laura Ann Toney. Master of Science, Lakin Marie Bindle. Master of Business Administration, Harrison Robert Waters. At this time, we present the candidates for the undergraduate degrees. I wish to ask Dr. H. Randall Dozier, Chair of the Board of Trustees, to assist in the presentation of the diplomas for the undergraduate degrees. Will the graduates please come forward to receive your diplomas? The College of Liberal Arts, Bachelor of Science, Jaslyn Monique Bailey, Kenneth Cole Baker, Brianna Nicole Bass, Shannon M. Bates, Davita Denise Battle, Rakita Benjamin Cum Laude, Tamara Sherelle Best, Megan Michelle Bethay, Jonathan Driggers Bone, Drake Cole Brookins Magna Cum Laude, Alexandria Nicole Brown, Evan Page Kane Magna Cum Laude, Malchus Lee Calvey III, Marilyn Olivia Camp, Danielle Lynette Cockram, Dominique Armand Coleman, Holly Michelle Coleman, Joseph Stephen Connor Magna Cum Laude, Tanisha Monet Cooksey, James Dillon Cox III, James Madison Alexander Dean, Rhonda Eugenia Dollard, Kendra Eileen Drayton, Richard Alex Fields Cum Laude, Courtney Latanya Flood, Ashley Nicole Frank, Erica Leanne Gibbons Summa Cum Laude, Michael Anthony Glimp, Lashana Cherie Green, Marletta Renee Green, Margaret Elizabeth Hagler Cum Laude, Kenitha Duvall Hampton, Charlotte Helen Hanna, Christina Claire Harley, Amber McCall Heckman Cum Laude, Jarrett Monroe Hooks, LaQuanda Latora Mary Hudson, Courtney Victoria Huggins, Jeffrey Dominique Hughes, Trakina Latrice Hughes, Olin Glenn Isom IV, Charnel Vontice Jackson, LaQuanda Denise Jackson, Danny Marlena Jefferson, Latiqua Tashay Johnson, Marbetta Nicole Johnson, Victoria Lund Jones, Wendell Brooks Jones Jr., magna cum laude, Melissa Lahana Keels, Nancy Blackman Lee, John Curtis Terrell Lewis, magna cum laude, Christy Ann Love, Angel Brianna Mack, Brittany Rashone Mallory, Virginia Elaine McCown, cum laude, Virginia Marie McDowell, Patty Nicole McElveen, Robert Clayton McKenzie, Alana LaJessica McClellan, Taylor Monique McLeod Gleaton, Alexander Lee Melton, James Fitzgerald Melton, Benjamin Kenneth Miller, Amanda Michelle Mitchell, cum laude, DeAndrea Diane Mitchell, Allison Kathleen Monahan, Angela Lachey Montgomery, cum laude, Latanya Graham Nesbitt, Durant Marquise Norton, Brian Thomas Owens, Aaron Michael Oxendine, Anna Page Paul, cum laude, Tyranny Brianne Perry, Frank Joseph Pesamenti, summa cum laude with university honors, Christina LaShawn Phillips, Tiffany Nicole Phillips, summa cum laude, Sarah Catherine Powell, Shannon Marcus Jude Quamina, Hannah Faith Rivers, Jackie Robinson II, Stephanie Ray Rubel, Ashley Patricia Samet, Destiny Tashay Schneider, Cassie Page Simmons, Reginald Cantrell Simon, Gerard Antonio Singleton, Lakita Lavon Smith, Richard Jackson Smith, cum laude with university honors, Samantha Renee Smith, Stephen Anthony Smith II, cum laude, Ashley Danielle Stafford, Daniel Bryant Steen, Charlotte Elizabeth Stevens, cum laude, Christina Nicole Stinton, Abby Elizabeth Sullivan, magna cum laude, Bradley Raymond Talbert, Keon Marquise Thompson, Shaniqua Charday Timmons, Shantae Marie Todd, Audra Michelle Turner, Derek Joshua Turner, Leslie Nicole Tyner, David Russell Vandenberg, Nicole Deborah Veneroso. Deborah Ann Walters, cum laude with university honors. Margot Blair Weatherford. Brian J. Wells, magna cum laude. Rebecca Lindsay Wells. Courtney Nicole Williams. Tiffany Jade Williams. Whitney Melissa Wilson. Jordan Ashley Winans. Davia Patrice Wright. Kendra A. Yates. Natalie Janelle Young. Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Lauren Elizabeth Allred. Autumn Nicole Bindle, cum laude. Portia L. Bolden. Joy Brown. Lauren Faith Bryan. Jasmine Shanae Covington. Sharice Dupree Hennigan. Jennifer Lee Eaton. Portia Ranisha Ellis. Barbara Jean Epps. Claire M. Gettings. Rachel Elizabeth Gettings. Samantha Owens Hewitt. Courtney Elizabeth Keene. Lauren Elizabeth Caparis. What is your name? I'm sorry. Correction, Lauren Kathleen Caparis. Bridget Nicole Lee, cum laude. Jenny Lee McFadden, magna cum laude. Andrew Lyle McCone, cum laude. Whitley Brianna Mims. Agnes Elizabeth Polk. Megan Ashley Rhodes. Pasha Elizabeth Trogdon Simonson. Tashira Laverne West. Allison Suzette Wheeler. Bachelor of Arts, Alexi Malia Aguiar. Catherine Blair Barnett. Christopher Wayne Bell Jr. Rashid Dwayne Boone. Amanda Elizabeth Broy. Patrick O'Neill Bryant. Brittany Alicia Bynum. Alyssa Christina Carver, magna cum laude. Jordan Sidney Cockfield. Emily Michelle Cox, summa cum laude. Ronald Kevin Cox. Kendra Dion Crumlin, cum laude. Kristen DeAndrea Dupree. Casey Morgan Durham, magna cum laude with university honors. Mallory Elizabeth Eggert. Quashida Tamika Fullmore. Simon Monroe Gibson. Kimberly Sierra Goss Richardson. Aaron Daniel Gotter. Janet Marie Gray. Amanda Caitlin Grooms, Amal J. Hall, Tiara Michelle Hodges, Benjamin Martin Johnson, magna cum laude with university honors. Marquita Irene Johnson, Leandra Simone Keller, Catherine Tahere Labby, cum laude. Shauna Elaine Lair, Hallie Lexus Legg, Cameron Alexander Maybe, James Kenneth Mack III, Hannah Elizabeth Moultrie, Bailey Carolyn Mills, Myra Michaela Moore, summa cum laude, Zachary Tyler Nicholas, cum laude, Julia Shanyiri Nwanagwo, Nicole Danielle Willette, Taryn Lene Parker, Samantha Lee Pollitt, Stacy Elizabeth Poston, summa cum laude with university honors. Baker Fields Reynolds, Megan Denise Sheffield, magna cum laude. Megan Lasonia Simmons, magna cum laude. Ashley Elizabeth Smith, Demetria Keandria White, School of Business, Bachelor of Business Administration, Shakinya Ronique Adams, Latoya Michelle Anderson, Erica Latoya Binbo, Keisha Wylia Bowens, Victoria Lee Braswell, Matthew Tyler Buchanan, Eric Leandre Kanzader, Cameron Preston Coker, summa cum laude, Deanna Patrice Cousin, Terry M. Danner, Jr., Adam Scott Dillahay, Justin Michael Fogel, Jeffrey Pate Gardner, magna cum laude, Yitka Gavdanova, Kevin Lund Green, Jr., Odell Beach Grice III, Timberly Chakina Griffin, William Joshua Guthrie, John Wesley Hurst, John William Jones, Maurice Reynard Jones, Bryant O'Neill Julius, C.B. Matthew Kirkland, Jeremy Jacob Nab, Demetrius Rogers Lighty, Justin Bradley Lloyd, David Lawrence Mon Jr., cum laude, Rashid Levion Major, Ashley Brooke Moore, Graylin T. Murdoch, Jasmine Janelle Pridgeon, Kayla Shantae Pringle, Julian F. Ramjohn, Hope Christian Shuttle, cum laude, Harry Edward Schuler, Jr., Devani Savon Simmons, Gary Levan Smith, Jr., Justin J. Smith, Carrie Omar Grant Smith. April L. Taylor. Robert Clifton Thomas III. Dominique Rashad Thurman. Simone Renee Trice. Lakey Lamont Turner. Travis Lynn Walters. Courtney Denise Williams. Dennis Maurice Williams II. Ryan Michael Wallazan. Joy Elector Wright. Summer Marie Yates. Bachelor of Science, Jack David Bishop. Matthew Ryan Corbin, cum laude. Matthew Tyler Kirkland, cum laude. Stephen Chadwick Lane. Dean Clay Lundy. Gregorio Isidro Padilla. The School of Education, Bachelor of Science. Maggie Campbell Bellflowers. Janae Leah Brockington. Jamie Poston Bird. Chelsea Jondro Cannon. Jeffrey Rashawn Caesar. April Nicole Cox. Lassie Alaire Gandhi. Lauren June Hart. Cassandra Faye Hayward, cum laude. Susan Elizabeth Hooker. Katrina Thompson Johansson. Sarah Lambert Lane, magna cum laude. Chelsea Ambria Latifa McFadden. Logan Nicole Meeks. Melissa Elizabeth Rhodes. Nicole Marie Snipes. Bettina Maria Thomas. Holly Lynn Todd. Lakedra Shanique Nashawn White. Jasmine Louise Williams. Shayla Ori Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of spring 2012. Let me announce that following these proceedings, there will be a reception for graduates and guests at the Cottage, which is the university's faculty alumni house. To the members of the audience, for reasons of courtesy and safety, we ask that you remain seated until the academic procession and all of the graduates have recessed. Now, as we conclude, a university is only as good as its faculty, and Francis Marion is fortunate to have an outstanding faculty. Graduates, join me in thanking the faculty for all that they've done for you. And graduates, your family and friends, this is their day too. Thank them.
Thank you.